This is the West Newbury Planning Board, Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. It is 7:01 p.m. And our first item on the agenda is a public hearing at 37 Coffin Street, a scenic roads application. Do we have a notice to be read, Sue?
Yes, I can read that. It's right in your packet. Do you want me to just read it, or do you want it on the screen as well?
No, I think just read it's fine.
Okay. The West Newbury Planning Board and Tree Warden will hold a consolidated public hearing on Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. to consider an application for the Scenic Roads Bylaw, Chapter 32 of Town of West Newbury Bylaws and Mass General Law, Chapter 87, Section 3, for the removal of a tree and stone wall at 37 Coffin Street. Owner applicant Joe Neep, 43 Coffin Street, West Newbury. The application and plans can be viewed online or by contacting the planning office or town planner to view the plans in person. Interested persons may participate in the meeting by joining from computer, tablet, or smartphone as directed, or by calling 302-205-3325.
Very good, thank you.
Cook.
Appreciate it. And I see we do have the applicant, Mr. Joe Neep, on the call here. So typically what we do is we turn it over to you to describe what you're doing, and I don't know if Sue, if you have a sketch or something that you can put up.
I do.
Or, okay, but I'll let Mr. Neep describe that. I should point out we were expecting another member to join us. We have one member absent, but there are three of us, and you would need 3 affirmative votes for this. So we'll see as this goes along. I just want to make you aware.
Oh, thank you.
Sure, go ahead, and maybe let's step back. You can describe what is being done here.
So I live at 43 Coffin Street, and I purchased 37 Coffin Street last July, and I went into full remodel mode on the property. And during the process of the property, I moved the garage to the right side where there was a driveway opening. In front of where the driveway is, there was a tree that was rotten. So I took the tree down, and there was a partial stone wall, I'd say, with a pile of rocks, more likely. And what I did is I removed that portion of the rocks, and I rebuilt stone walls all the way down in the driveway, and then all the way down in front of 37 Coffin into the existing driveway that was there. And then I built more stone walls all the way down the front of my property, so it all matches. So, and I reconnected the wall on the far right to the old existing wall that was there. There are some pictures on the application showing the walls that are complete now, I believe. And the tree was rotten. It was an old ash tree. So
yeah, well, if it wasn't hadn't succumbed yet, it probably will soon, or would soon.
Yeah. So Sue's got the pictures up, so you can see that the walls are all built back. Correct. So it was, and the reason I did it is because the walls that were there, it wasn't really, I don't really consider it a wall. It was a partial wall, and the prior homeowner that had it had already kind of torn into the wall 3 or 4 times. So it was just kind of a little mess of rocks that was maybe 22 feet long. But I ended up replacing, I think it was over 300 feet of wall. And I just left a driveway opening that's about 24 feet wide there.
Right. So you've added quite a lengthy section of wall, not only for this house, but also your own house.
Correct. Yes. Yep. Yeah, as you can see, it goes all the way down, and then it curls into the existing driveway that was there, and then it picks up on the other side of the driveway, and then goes all the way down the front of my house. See where it curls in there. So,
right.
If anything, I feel like I made it more scenic because I fixed everything. So that's, but it's, and I built the walls original. As far as their dry lay walls, there's no cement in them, so I tried to make it look like old, like an old the old farmers would. I stack the rocks up on the backside to hold all the wall up. So it's very traditional
Not an
farm
easy
wall.
thing to do, I don't think.
No, lots of rocks there. So,
Yeah.
and the rocks that were in the piles that I could use, I used the ones that were on site, and then I brought more rocks in, obviously, to finish the walls.
Yeah, yeah. There was nothing still in front of that house previously at all. I know that. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
where the telephone pole was, the tree was right behind the telephone pole. So I took that's the tree I removed. And then from the telephone pole over, it was kind of like, you can see in the Google Earth, there was a little bit of a wall and then a
Right.
partial break and then a little bit and then a big partial break because he had a driveway over there that he would drive down to the basement with.
Right.
So, but I closed that portion off and replaced it all. And I just left the 24-foot opening where the new garage is framed.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, I think it looks, it enhances the property and whatnot. And we did have you in, I think it was back in March, late March, when we were having an MBTA zoning hearings. I do wish you had come in before, but I appreciate that you, before you did this for approval, but I do appreciate that you went through with this process for us. So thank you for that. With two other members of the board here, if you would like to weigh in at this point.
This is Tim, Brian.
Yes.
The only question I think I have it, the location of the wall. I know it's been extended, like you said, along the driveway. It's a nice wall. The pictures don't do it justice here. The location though is roughly where it was before. Like
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So it's almost identical. So it was about 5 to 6 feet off the road. And then we just kept it in the same line. I just made it straighter. And then curled it back in where the old driveway was, which is now going to be on my property, 43 Coffin. Eventually, when I file an A&R, that's just down the road. So.
Yeah. So to me, that kind of alignment and like the construction of the wall, the traditional construction to me, is important. So it's just not a wall, but it is, kind of consistent with what was there. It is an improvement over certainly what was there. Is a lot more stone, as you say. So I just wanted to make sure that if one was to look up the road, they would kind of be able to follow the line of the wall, the historical line of the wall, which is what the bylaw is kind of intending.
Yep. And so if you were standing in front of the garage and looked to the right and you looked at that wall, I connected it to the old wall it goes up toward the brook, up toward 35 Coffin. So there's an old wall and then it hits a brook and then it stops there. And then you go across to their property and then the wall must have stopped there because they built another stone wall there, but it's not a traditional stone wall. It's more of a flat laid stone wall.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a couple areas there that it has disappeared over the years or whatever. Further down the street, you're right.
Yep.
And that's what we try to, what people like to see, and I think they'll be pleased that you've added quite a bit of stone here that is reminiscent of what was there, and that's what we try to we certainly like to encourage in town. And Coffin Street gets a lot of traffic, as you probably know.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I live next door, so I wanted it to be a continuation of my wall that was there.
Yes.
Also.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
why I spent the extra money to do it that way.
And you rebuilt your wall. You had something there before. I remember we saw a picture. You totally rebuilt that, didn't you?
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, I took it all down and then rebuilt it so it all matched.
Yeah.
So it's the curb appeal. That was the hope. So, but
Right.
I want it to look nice.
Right.
Well, I hate to kind of be negative here. I appreciate all the work, and I think the look that you've achieved is consistent with the renovated construction. But I also have to be honest. And the new wall is, to me, very different in character to the walls that existed along Coffin Street ahead of time. And I think if you had come to us before doing the work, we could have had a discussion about that. If I look at the Google Earth photos here, I see an old broken down rock wall that's typical of the rock walls all around West Newbury. And the wall that you've constructed is a wall that's typical of brand new construction. So I'm just being honest with you. I'm not a huge fan. I appreciate the intention. And that's, I'm just weighing in. That's just how I feel about it.
No, I appreciate it. I think if you walk up the street though, too, you'd notice that there's a totally different wall up the street too, which is very non-traditional. So it's a flat laid stone. So it's pretty inconsistent. I think as you drive down Coffin Street, there's walls that are veneered in some places. There's flat laid stone in some places. So I felt like this looked more traditional
Yeah.
on how I thought it would be built up. I mean, like I said, it's all dry laid. So I just made it a little straighter than they would have done back in the days, I guess, when they were farming.
Yep. At meetings and public hearings is honesty.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So
And I appreciate the intention, and it's, I mean,
yeah, I think we lost. Did we lose Ray? Ray, you frozen? I think we. Ray,
whoop.
Sue, can you hear me?
Excuse me, I can now. Everyone was frozen for a while.
Yeah, for a second. Okay, Ray, I think you probably lost your last comment.
Oh, I was just saying how I appreciate the work he's done. The buildings look great, and yeah, it's also served, I think, the whole town, because we were kind of getting the word out about this and the procedure and stuff, so that anybody coming along behind us would have more of a heads up about doing this. So I appreciate that too.
Yeah, I hope I educated the town then. I mean,
There you go.
but
Yeah,
there was no ill intent. There was no ill intentions behind all this. It was just, I wanted to keep going.
I never thought there was, sir.
yeah, I don't know what you're. I know you're probably putting a house up for sale. I think it's on the market actually. If you have other plans for something else in town for development, I would just urge you to be proactive earlier than coming at the tail end. If you could do that, that's what we look for here.
No, I appreciate that. I should have been more forthcoming on it.
Well, listen, we're for me, I'm fine. I understand Ray's comments. I do want to suggest, and it's maybe because I don't want to put Ray in an awkward position here. We're short 2 members tonight, and I'm wondering if we should defer the vote on this until the next meeting, when we definitely.
I don't think you have to. I appreciate your being careful here, Brian.
All right. Well, I didn't want you to have to.
No, I just wanted to say my little piece there.
No, and that's fine. That's what we all do from time to time. So, all right. Well, that's good to know, Ray, because I think he's Mr. Neep has understood what we've asked for, and I think he's regardless of one's feelings on the appearance. I think both places are enhanced by the result here. That there was a good intent. So I'm going to and Tim, did you have any other comment? You wish
Nope,
to
no
make?
other comments from me.
Then I move to approve.
Oh,
So
Could I interrupt just for a minute, Brian?
you may.
I did tell Rosemary McCobb, who's at 65 Coffin Street, that I would just ask a question to the board in regards to this project.
Sure.
So one of the questions, well, her primary question was answered. She was wondering if it needed to be built back, if it was built back in the same place. Her question was, did it need to be built on the owner's property rather than in the town right of way? So I think we know the answer to that. And he answered that it was generally built back where it originally was. But she did just want to go on record indicating that she felt that it was too close and that it was dangerous for not giving enough space if people need to pass or pull off if there was another car alongside the road. So I promised her I would get that on record, and I wanted to do so.
Okay, no, that's an interesting point. Good observation. I know many places in town, you've got trees in the right of way right next to the road, and depending on the merits of a driver, one never knows what could happen. So
They should take a drive near Maudsley.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. But we thank her for her observation.
Right.
So I move to approve the scenic roads application for, did I get this right, 43?
30.
37.
37. 43 is your house.
Yeah.
37 Coffin Street, as presented to the board.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Aye, Brian Murphy, aye.
Tim Cronin,
Ray,
aye.
Tim,
Ray
3,
Cook, aye.
0. Mr. Neep, you're all set.
Thank
We
you very
appre-
much.
We appreciate it. Good luck to you there and in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Okay, thank you guys. And Sue, appreciate that. So that was the woman that was trying to log on, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a Deer Run update with Mike Crow regarding a Lot 3 release.
And Mike,
Mike is
did-
here, yes.
Yeah, I did mute him. So Mike, you're going to have to unmute yourself again if you know how to do that. Thank you.
Am I good?
You are now. Yes.
Did you mute me because my dog started howling?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
The floor is yours, Mike.
Okay, so as we did back in early March, when I got ready to sell number 1 and number 3 Major Boyd Drive, which is Lot 4, I'm nearing the same date later this month of June for number 5 Major Boyd, and shortly after number 7, which is lot number 3. And I'm looking for basically just the same release of the form, the covenant form, so that they can do all of their necessary paperwork. 3 months ago, when we did the first one, I know we got an update from the engineer and we went through all the part with the as-built, and we got through all of that satisfactorily. Nothing has changed or been done over there. There's been no involvement from Meridian nor need to be at this point. Several times I have talked with and worked with the Conscom regarding additional work and, siltation devices and things like that, just as I move forward. So since that time, unrelated to 5 and 7, number 2 and 4, the buildings on the left, the foundation went in. they're framed, the windows are in, I'm starting the roughs, and those are on target for a somewhere in October closing. And I've started clearing lot number 2, the one out behind the old house. Getting ready to get a foundation permit and install that. So I'm still, from what I'd said 3 months ago, pretty much on target with what I was hoping to do over these months of 2024. And I'm just looking to charge ahead.
Okay, it sounds fine. I don't think we'd have any issue. Sue, would that paperwork be ready for the next meeting? We'll have 2 other members here to vote. You're muted, Sue?
Sorry, it was in
Yep.
your packet. It's all ready to go.
Oh, I,
So with a quorum, I can share it right now if you'd like. So you can see it. It's exactly the same with the only difference being that it's references 3, which is number 5, and number 7 Major Boyd Drive. But let me just share that. You see this okay?
oh yes, I did see it. Yes, my bad.
That's okay.
So yeah, for my purposes and things, I was hoping to get, this done and signed, because as you know, that with condos and all the documents and the site plans and trying to get this coordinated through the buyers and the buyers' attorneys, that the sooner I have this, the better it'll be for me to close in about 2.5 or 3 weeks at the most.
Okay, no, that's fine. Given that I have no problem moving ahead with this, but I'd like to hear from both Tim and Ray on this.
Ray, did you?
Ray is
have any-
good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I just had a question. Can you remind me, Mike, the financial part of this, the contribution, the
Yes.
affordable housing?
Yes, so we have 6 of the 8 units will be paying the 4% fee. And given that the existing house, which had an in-law, 2 units were not making that payment. So these are these 2.
Got it.
And so the remaining 4 will be paying the full 4% fee.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that reminder. And that was the only question I had.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I don't see any objection, and I do understand your timing on this. So I move to approve the Form J certificate of performance as presented to us, and for the board members to sign at their convenience.
Second?
All those in favor? Any other discussion? None? All those in favor? Brian Murphy? Aye.
Ray Cook,
I
aye?
see Tim.
Tim Cronin, aye?
Tim it passes 3-0. Should we try to sign over the next couple of days or into next week? Or
Into next week works for me. That's fine.
okay. I'm around actually later Thursday and Friday.
I will leave it in the entry vestibule.
The usual spot.
Yes, I will.
Okay, maybe send a notice around just
I
as a
will do that.
reminder.
Yes.
Okay. Those help. All right.
Good.
Mr. Crow, good luck to you. It's coming along.
Great. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along. The next item is board organization. And I will say that I either missed the notice from Ann, or it came in after this and I didn't connect the dots, but Ann is not here. And obviously Deb is not here. So I want to talk about this, but I'm also going to suggest that we defer this to the next meeting, assuming that the 2 of you, Ray and Tim, are planning to attend. I think that's on the 18th.
Just double checking, Brian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's more if we can, then we can, whoever's going to volunteer for certain committees or other fun activities.
You're making a strategic error here.
I am.
Yeah, because now's the time to assign those committee assignments
This is the military.
to the people
Yeah.
who aren't here.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well,
The choice assignments.
that's my feeling, but I could be swayed. But let me tell you this, Ray. I sent you a note to your UNH address. I don't know if you got that.
Oh, I've been hiding from my emails.
Okay. Well, it turns out that Deb is not interested in taking on the chair's role,
Oh,
and I had Sue check back on who's coming around the bend, and I mean that in a good way. And Ray, you're first up.
I
And
am,
my
huh?
note, you'll see in my note, it's really just to kind of give you a heads up and to make sure you were interested. So I just think it probably just behooves us, especially since Deb isn't here, that we maybe talk among everybody at the 18th.
Yeah,
But
let's do that.
and you can read my note and ponder this. And if it isn't you this time, Ray, then the other guy right behind you is Mr. Tim.
Well, we have a long tradition of rotating it through.
We do.
I mean,
It's
in all honesty, I prefer not to be chair, but I'm willing to step up and do my bit.
Yep. Well, you've seen it. The only thing I could say is, it's a MBTA year ahead, in whatever form things are going to take.
Sure. Hand it
And
off to me just when things start heating up.
yeah. Listen, I could feel the flames at my back.
Well, I mean, it's yep.
But I just think, this hopefully Deb will be able to zoom in, and at least Ann will be here to whatever. But
Yeah,
that's
we'll
kind of how
have that
things.
discussion. I appreciate the fact that you're not trying to avoid me.
No.
So I'll take that as a compliment.
It's total compliment. We'd be
Actually,
in very good hands.
we've always done fine rotating through. Everybody's done a good job.
Yep. Yeah, Deb just felt that she needs a little more time, and whatever. Who knows?
Yep.
We'll leave it at that.
Well, I also appreciate the fact that she's being straight about it.
Yep. So we'll put that off, but now you have a little heads up on things to ponder. So, all right.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I tell you what, if it weren't for Sue here, then it'd be a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, no. Believe me, we're in very good hands. Yes, I've leaned a lot on Sue here over the
Let me
last
tell
year.
you, Sue, you have no idea how much you're appreciated around
Oh,
here.
that's really nice.
Well, it's true.
So, thank you. Now I'll let Sue talk about the farm bylaw, which I did read in the packet.
Yeah, and I put in the context piece from Wendy, just so you'd know where it came from. So I had known this was coming probably for over a year. Someone from the Grange had come before me and kind of asked about it, and I explained that it was a general bylaw, so it is. But so now they have gone through the proper channels and they've taken it to the select board. But the select board wants kind of comments or on this and any recommended changes to the bylaw or whatever by June 21st. So just wanted to put it before you. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the right to farm bylaw. I think they've laid it out pretty clearly here.
Yeah,
and I'm happy
would
to answer
agree.
any questions.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's probably doesn't give people might think they want total protection about everything, but I think for those farms in town and people doing farming activities, it gives them protection about from a neighbor who's complaining about smells or animal noises or what have you.
They're
Yeah.
they're already protected. This kind of just gives them a reminder
Yeah.
that the town is, values agriculture.
I'm strong advocate for agricultural in West Newbury. I am concerned about, and I don't think there's anything for us to do about it, but I am concerned about the application of pesticides and herbicides and, that being done responsibly. There are windy days where that stuff can drift, and that can affect we got a lot, nowadays there are a lot of homes bordering the farmland, and it's a poorly studied thing. So I have no objection to those days when the chicken manure goes out on the field. I have no objection to that sort of gas spreading about town. That's farming. But I do worry about the herbicides and I don't know what could be done about that.
That's a good point, Ray, and I wonder if it's something that the Agricultural Commission could maybe do some research on and get more information to see
Yeah.
if other towns do anything about it.
Yeah, which
I mean,
got me to, I mean,
maybe just I'd like to send the message that we're strong supporter of agriculture in West Newbury, but we do want any kind of herbicide or insecticide to be used responsibly, according to proper application procedure of the particular product involved. And I think where you run into a problem is when a farmer has decided that he's got to spray the fields on Wednesday, and Wednesday is a windy day. So I don't know how we could get both messages out there.
should this come as a note from the planning board, which I'm fine with, or are they looking for individual commentary? Do you know, Sue?
They're looking at it from, a board, but it could certainly be, it could be just as Ray pointed out, the board strongly supports it.
Well, I second Ray's opinion. I mean, I think it's well stated. And yes, I do support the right to farm bylaw. So I think you'd be fine if you could draft just a brief note and make sure Ray's points are noted.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I mean, I'm sensitive to this. I mean, I'm not, my house is not contiguous with farmland. But if you go down Bailey's Lane just a little bit, you have several homes that are completely, surrounded on at least 2 or 3 sides. And I mean, yeah. I also became concerned a couple of years ago when there's a little farm road that goes up from Bridge Street to Bailey's Lane over what used to be Kimball Farm. And I was walking on that. Perhaps I was trespassing, I don't know. And I noticed that all the weeds on both sides of the road were dead and dying. You guys froze up again.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're back. Yeah. Yeah, he may have applied a something to knock down the poison ivy, perhaps.
Well, I mean, you can get,
No, no, we're all.
oh, now you're back. I mean, Roundup has been used for years and years and years. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was what was being used.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the guy. I think he's a good farmer. Dunajewski, or I don't know how you say his name properly. Um, but he's growing feed for his dairy farm and corn, and so he's got to get it done.
I think this is consistent with what you brought up, Ray, but I see the term generally accepted agricultural practices in here. And I don't know, I'm thinking we might be able to do a little bit better than that. I can see that, being a lawyer, that, we use terminology like that, and trying to prove what that actually means is a bit difficult in context. So,
Well, maybe it could be, you add something like with particular diligence with respect to application of um, in appropriate weather conditions.
Yeah, because you can see some guys saying, well, for 200 years,
exactly.
this
Yeah.
is what we've been doing.
Yeah, and this, is good in Indiana or wherever,
Yeah,
there's no
right.
houses around, and, yeah.
Do they still do the biplane thing out there in the great cornfields? Or,
They do.
good Lord.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scary part of accepted practices.
Yeah, so we've got all the APR land on Bailey's Lane. I'm not quite sure where else there's.
Well, what I'd point out, and maybe I'm misreading it, but I read this to mean expansions of agricultural use too, like, on new property. And I think Sue brought up a good point that, there is actually statutory protection in Massachusetts for existing, farmland. And so it protects, the right to farm on currently, farmed sites. But I think this is designed to encourage an expansion of agriculture in the town too. And that's where I think there's a bit of tension there, because, there's not, there are certainly open fields where, they could be more economically farmed. There's no doubt about it. And so if we're talking about, those areas that are kind of dormant right now, that's great, But if we're talking about, farming within subdivisions and, neighborhoods and things like that, I think that's a little bit different. And so, but it would be, as I read it, that would be protected here, because I think this is intended to apply to the whole town.
So you have somebody who's got a huge front yard over on Meadow Sweet Lane or something, and decides to till it all up.
Yep.
Actually, I think it is commercial agriculture that is protected, and I believe it's 5 acres.
Oh, good. There's an acreage.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where is that, Sue? Is that in here? I
I
must have missed
think
that.
yep, no, I think that's in the chapter 40A, section 3, which is the subjects which zoning may not regulate, and it talks about commercial agriculture, and it outlines it. And I think there's
You're talking in the existing statutory
yeah,
protection.
this is just kind of a regurgitation of it. Just says, as per chapter 40A, section 3, chapter 90, section 9, chapter 111. So it goes through those. And the first one is the one that says it's protected by that. This new right to farm bylaw doesn't give any more protection than currently exists. It really just puts people on notice. That is my understanding of this bylaw.
Yeah. Has this gone through town council? Do you know?
No,
Okay.
I'm sure not.
Yeah.
And I think it may when the new fiscal year comes through.
Okay, yeah, right, right. Okay, understood. Yeah, I think because the statute that I'm familiar with just it protects existing agricultural use. It doesn't
Mhm.
talk about encouraging new
I got you.
areas of agriculture, yeah. And the 5 acres is helpful. Is that what's meant by, do you think, jurisdictional areas within the town? Which that's a reference in that section 1.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why it's written that way. Let me
Yeah.
this bylaw.
I would suggest this point needs to be clarified because I did not glean that.
Oh, okay.
The jurisdictional areas.
Yeah, the
Okay,
jurisdictional
good point.
areas, and for example,
Sure.
you know, the less than 5 acres, this doesn't even apply, and that type of thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think, yeah,
you can include that too.
yes.
But you see my point here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
there's this particular house that I wonder about. And then you got the Thompson family, they own this piece. And then you got, you know, relatively new construction here.
yeah, but the fields, yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, prevailing winds tend to be from upper left to lower right here. And, you know, you got the whole Albion Lane bit.
And who knows? I mean, Long Hill is just on the other side,
Well, this is Long Hill.
right? Yeah.
Right? Cena's
That's
up
a
here.
cool view. You
Cena's
can
up there. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then you've got this big field down here, and there are new houses in here.
True.
So I mean, you've got lots of houses within a, you know, 100 yards of the edge of these fields. That's all.
Yep.
That's just my bit.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Good feedback.
Tim, is it your reading that you think that this right to farm bylaw adds additional rights that don't currently exist?
I think that's what I'm trying to validate. That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering if it
Yeah,
had
no,
been
that's
looked
the
at by
question.
town council, because that one statute that I sent you talks about, you know, areas that have been farmed continuously for a year, you know,
Mhm.
that
Yep, I
type of
did
thing.
see
So
that.
it's existing farmland.
Right.
And this talks about expansions, you know, encouraging expansions of farmland.
True.
That part I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And, you know, the concept of expanding agricultural use, I think, is great. I think, you know, like I said, you know, we have all these fields around town there's nothing growing in them, you know. Now there are a lot of open fields growing weeds, and it's not great.
Mhm.
So it'd be great to see those utilized. But if we're talking about, you know, other types of protection, like in what a lot of people would consider to be like the residential part of the community, I think folks will be wondering, well, wait a minute, you know, what is this actually
Yeah, no,
permitting?
it's a
You
good
know,
question.
am I going to have a bunch of goats, you know, like in my yard here, or what's the deal?
Yeah, especially where you've got lots more in, the zone A that are, minimum 2 acre, and they're often larger than that.
Well,
So,
I don't really, I mean, a survey could be done, but we don't, you know, we used to know what was chapter 61 land. I'm sure we can find that on
It's on the
um,
My Map.
yeah, but there's not I don't know that there's a ton of places that could enter into quasi-commercial agricultural use.
Mm.
But you know, I don't even know if the name of the what's the new owners of the farm with the farm stand?
The grant.
Oh, the grants. Yeah.
Grant Farm. Yeah, the Grant Farm, if it's 5 acres,
Yeah.
not by
Small.
much.
And that was definitely worthy of protection for sure.
oh yeah, yeah. I hope they're trying to make a go of it, but
Well,
And
I
I-
think I think they are making a go of it. I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah, they seem to be doing really well. They try really hard. They work super hard.
So yeah, again, all for it, but there is a concern about, but and there are lots of people in town who are trying to, be organic and whatnot. And then you got this spray over thing going on, and then people
Oh, and,
are
you, and you've got
concerned
the
about,
bees, the beekeepers, the honey people out there,
exactly.
which
And,
are a nice,
we've got a strong now native, what's it called?
native and wild or native
Yeah,
something
right?
committee. Yeah,
And
Right.
and so, for example, the pollinators, the monarchs feed on milkweed. And when I was growing up in Illinois, you found the milkweed all along the edges of the fields.
Right.
And now that's, been killed by the pest herbicides.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ray, are you in favor of, you mentioned the bees, but did you see what followed the bees? The protection of the harvesting of fur-bearing animals?
Well, as it turns out, I saw, you may not, are you familiar with stoats? Sometimes also called ermine?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, I had a short-tailed stoat on my yard 2 nights ago,
no
Really?
kidding.
running
Yeah.
under me, running under my porch. That's a bad omen for the chipmunks and the mice that kind of hang out, but
It's all right.
it's the first time I'd ever seen a stoat in the wild.
Well, if we see you with a nice fur hat for the winter,
There you go.
I think you need a couple of them.
yeah, where there's one, there's more. All right, we have enough information there, Sue.
I think so.
Okay.
I
Well,
might reach out to folks if I start writing and I'm not.
Sure, I think that's a good
Confident.
idea. Sure, and you may want to just reach out to Deb and Ann just to
Sure. Yep, certainly. I will do that.
see if they want to weigh in. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled up the article, whatever the hell that number is, 43, right to farm. And one of the very first bulleted items is control of pests, including but not limited to insects, weeds, predators, and disease organisms. So there you go.
Okay.
Hey, Brian,
All
can I
right.
point out one other thing
Sure.
that I saw? And I don't mean to be annoying about this, but it talks about equestrian use, the keeping of horses.
Mhm.
I don't think the keeping of horses is necessarily something that I traditionally looked at as a farm. If it's a farm, if it's a horse that's used in the industry of farming, okay. But I just thought that was interesting.
So the state added this to its list of farming
Got it.
operations sometime back. And
The
when I
keeping
was
of horses?
working in Berlin,
Isn't that interesting?
equestrian
Okay.
organizations were also were considered one of those protected. Mhm.
Okay, great,
That-
great.
yeah.
I just wanted to
I'm
make
sure
sure
it was a
we were.
lobbying effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be popular in this town, to be
Mhm.
sure, but I just wanted to make sure this wasn't some outlier reference that was brought up by West
Well,
Newbury, so that's good to
you
know.
go to Iceland and horses on the menu.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh.
Did you know that?
No.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah.
about Iceland. I know some places it is, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Ooh.
it's a big deal in Iceland.
wow.
Yeah,
Yikes.
I do recall the horse thing a number of years ago that came up
Mhm.
when
Okay.
we were talking about farming, and
Yeah.
you're right, a good lobbying effort, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Got it. Well, that answers the question, that it's consistent. So that's
Mhm.
good. That's all I have.
All right, Sue, how about your planner's report?
Oh, forgot all about it. It was brief. It's
Yeah.
kind of quiet. It's been kind of quiet in my little necks
Well,
of the
be
woods
careful what you say.
since this since the MBTA has kind of
Yeah.
taken a back seat. I did pass along the housing production plan,
Yes.
and I asked for a few changes, just technical changes, the name of the wording of the committee. It was a working task force, and just a few other minor changes. I wanted to make sure that they talked about our AD U bylaw.
Good.
So just some minor changes. They're planning the stakeholder working, the task, oh, I forgot what it's, the task, the working group is going to be meeting on it within the next week or two, and then they'll put out the final draft for a full board committee town review. Just a reminder that the select board and the planning board are the only two that need to make comment and kind of give it their approval before it goes into the state. So that's why I wanted you to have as much time as you needed to go through it. It's kind of a
Yeah,
thick
maybe-
document sometimes.
Yeah, we should probably have that officially on the next
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it probably won't get final approval from the select board until like mid-July.
Yeah.
Only because I think their end of year June is a busy kind of filled up period for them. So I think as long as it's done by mid-July, it'll be fine.
All right. Well, at least we'll talk about it, and because we may, well, we'll have to talk also with the other two members about our July meetings. We usually drop the first one or something.
Sounds
But
good.
yeah.
So and then the hazard mitigation plan, that's up for review as well. That's nearing its completion zone. It doesn't need planning board approval or recommendation, but always looking for all boards to review.
Where's that at, Sue?
The hazard mitigation plan, there's a link right on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's housed on the MVPC website. And if you can't get it through that, let me know and I'll send it out to you.
Okay, thanks.
And then just provided an update on the other items. Still nothing from Drake's Landing. They asked for a closeout some time ago, but as soon as we told them they needed to get something to us, I haven't heard anything more from them. Eagle Nest, of course, we will hear from next meeting. They did get a successful perk tests on both the lots. A couple Thursdays ago, the one of the lots, they did have to move it. They did have to perk in a couple areas, and they did have to go further into the wetland, the buffer zone than they had originally thought. So they might need to go back to, they have not gone to Concom for the septics. They've only gone to Concom for the roadway in. So
We freeze again.
the board's review of that.
Yep.
And I think that's all that's new.
Okay. I had a question.
Oh,
Do
there's
you-
one
do
more
you-
thing I wanted to say.
Oh, well, I'll throw that out. Do you have anything new you can add about the 40R from the select board meeting?
I don't. In fact, even at the huddle tomorrow, we have an internal meeting with boards and committees, and I see it got crossed off, an update got crossed off. We still are waiting for 2 questions to be answered from the 3A group, the MBTA communities group that we had asked them about. And I think that there's just not been any forward movement on it from the select board.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I did want to bring up to the board, it didn't make it onto my report, but our conservation agent has been offered a job and she has accepted it. One of those too good to pass up job opportunities. She said she wasn't looking, but she did accept another position, and her last day, I believe, is the 11th, coming right up.
Wow. So Michelle, I guess when
Michelle,
she
too
didn't
good
get
to
the
be.
bylaw passed, she says, I'm out of here.
She was too good to be true. She just, yeah, she's leaving, unfortunately. She was,
That is too bad.
I know, she was really super professional, did a
Where's she
great
headed,
job.
do you know?
I don't recall the name of the firm, but I know it's a position is she's going to be doing DEP, be the one in charge of DEP permitting for this particular firm. It's a private firm. It's not
Oh, I see.
another, it's not
Oh,
another
it's not another
community.
municipality.
It is not. No. No.
It's
Okay,
going for the
well-
big money.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe less headaches.
Right? So I'm sorry, I had her
Wow,
I had
interesting.
her last date up here and now it's not in front of me anymore, but
Well, that does happen out there. That's
it does. Yeah.
okay.
June 11th. It's her last day, coming right up.
All right, so we have minutes. Did we have minutes? We didn't have minutes.
Let me see. I almost thought we did, but I don't see them.
I didn't
Me
review
neither.
any if we did.
Okay,
I,
so then they're not.
I posted a couple links in the chat with
Yeah.
respect to the pesticide stuff in Massachusetts.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, I didn't see it, Sue, but it was on the agenda, so May 21st.
Let me look in the file, although you wouldn't have time to.
Well, we'll hold
Oh.
off. Let's hold off till the next meeting then.
Okay. All right, we'll move those May 21st.
Any correspondence or
There is no
nothing? Quiet.
correspondence.
Oh, come on. There's
I
gotta be
know, right?
something.
There wasn't one thing. The only thing further that I could update you on is we have had a number of applications for the joint position to serve the building department, conservation, and planning board.
Oh,
And I think they
good.
feel like they've got some pretty good ones, and I think we'll be reaching out to them and making arrangements probably maybe as early as next week, definitely by the week after for interviews.
Terrific.
So.
Good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that fall under administrative details or?
That's what I'd put that under.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out of any other things to cover here. Anybody else have something they want to throw in the mix?
What's the water temperature?
72.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems a little high for this time of year. Yeah.
Is it a fairly shallow body of water?
Well, my thermometer's down about 3.5 feet. I mean, the lake goes from 20 to 50, so it's not way out. I measure close to shore.
I used to, there's a family connection to one of the Finger Lakes, and there's a house there, and we gather sometimes, and there's, what do you call it? A thermocline?
Yeah. Yep.
You can be in the top 3 feet, it's all toasty, and then you go down and there's like this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I took a quick swim on Monday, and I got about 10 feet out, and I was like, holy cow. No, I'm going back.
Have you heard that people voluntarily take baths in ice water?
Yeah. In Iceland.
Yeah, after having a nice meal of horse.
Well, or they were too close to the lava flow or something when it went
Oh my God, that's amazing. Have you seen
It
those
is.
pictures?
Yeah. Man, trying to stop a lava flow, just amazing stuff. Okay, I think
Alrighty.
we're good for the three of us. We've done a fine job here tonight.
Yeah. I
And,
will
and,
send out a notice to
and
remind
I
you
don't mean to
sign.
dissuade you, Sue. That was referring to the three board members.
I
We
know.
of course include you as a key cog in the wheel.
BOARD
you know,
members.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, all set, motion to adjourn.
Second.
And yes, Brian, Ray, Tim, all good.
All right.
Okay.
See you guys. Good
Thank
night.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
See you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.